Hey guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and this is episode 16. And I'm just gonna start calling this a Flosstube rather than a podcast. It seems that is certainly the direction that I'm going, particularly since I'm not doing much knitting or quilting lately. But anyway, so episode 16 of whatever you want to call it, Michelle's Ramblings. Today is Saturday, August 27th, and I did intend to record like in the past 2 weeks, and that just has not materialized. So here I am finally able to record. And a little bit of a disclaimer, I am having a little bit of a hard time right now, and we'll just see what I can do to not let that invade the video. So anyway, let's get to it. So, finishes. I have been working on, I mentioned last time that I needed to do binding on a quilt that's for Quilts for Peace. The Dallas Modern Quilt Guild that I am a member of has been coordinating, I guess is the word I'm looking for, coordinating an effort to put together quilts, not only quilts for Pulse for the Orlando nightclub shooting. We've been adding to that, but then also coordinating the Quilts for Peace effort, which is for the families of the Dallas police officers and some of the other victims from that tragedy. I don't know if I can get through this. Anyway, so I did not make this quilt. All of the blocks were made by other quilters, and they have been coming in over the last, weeks, months, whatever it's been since this occurred. And folks have been sewing these blocks together and making quilt tops. And then we have a number of long armors that have been donating their time and doing the quilting on these quilts. And then I decided to pick one up to bind. So I did get it bound. I'm just going to show you kind of quickly what this looks like. So you may have seen like the Quilts for Pulse, which are all the rainbow heart blocks. And then of course these are all blue. So there's some of it. There's a few more blocks. And then they provided this binding to me. So I sewed that on. I actually put the last hand stitches in last night. I've been working on this for, I don't know, maybe three or four nights, and finally got it finished last night. Unfortunately, I've been down with a migraine for about 3 days now. So I've been working on this while I could. This is I think this one is my favorite. The one with the stars. So anyway, I did not make this quilt. All I did was do the binding on it. It just has a white backing, and then we will put our label on it that says, Quilts for Peace, and all of that. Let me see if I can step back and show you a little bit of this. So there's some of it. There's some more of it. It's not a huge quilt, you know, it's probably large flap size. So anyway, but I'm glad to have this done. It really should have been done a while ago, and I just didn't get to it. So anyway, so Quilts for Peace, I will be handing that in so that we can get a label put on it and send it to a family to hopefully bring them a little bit of comfort. Okay, so that is my most recent finish. Unfortunately, a couple of the finishes that I have given away, so I cannot show you what they were, show you the actual thing, but I will show you what they were so you can kind of see. Anyway, so a friend of mine, her birthday is in June, and so I stumbled across this. I have all of the Blackbird Designs stocking patterns that they did a few years ago. You know, they released one each month, and each one had 3 stocking patterns in it. And so I did, let's see, this is maybe a better picture. I did this one, which is the honeysuckle vine, as a little birthday gift for her. And I actually did it on 40 counts. It was a little smaller than what is intended. I think these are actually charted for 30 count, you know, like most Blackbird Designs pieces are. I stitched on 40 count dill, which I think I showed you last time, is that picture this plus linen that has a little bit of a kind of a greenish cast to it. I thought it would work nicely with the yellows and the greens in the honeysuckle vine. So I did that, and then it called for Crescent Colors or Classic Colorworks or whatever they are, Weeks Dye Works. Actually, and the Weeks Dye Works that it called for is honeysuckle. I did not have that color, and so I used the DMC. It gives you 2 choices for DMC. I think it intends for you to blend those if you're using 30 count, but since I was only using since I was using 40, I could only use 1 thread. So I think I used 676. It calls for 676 or 677 DMC. I think I used 676 if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, and so 3 stockings for June, Glorious June, and that is the honeysuckle vine stocking. So I did that for a birthday gift. And yeah, I know her birthday was in June, and I like just finished this, but anyway. And then the other thing that I did a few years ago, and I'll link back to the post on my blog, but a few years ago I stitched this piece, this little box. This is also Blackbird Designs. It's from the Marianne Blackburn book. Here's the little box. I stitched this for a friend, and got the box at Hobby Lobby. It's like a little jewelry box, and on the inside it has a little tray that comes out, and then it has a mirror. So I stitched this for her, and I bought 2 boxes, so my intention is to stitch this sometime for me as well, and finish it. It turned out beautifully. I was really pleased with how it turned out. So I stitched this for her birthday, I don't know, a couple years ago, maybe longer than that. And so I had always intended to do some little pieces that coordinate with it to go inside. And so when you look at this, there's this little piece that, you know, basically matches the bird on here. And so I decided to stitch that for her. And it's called, I'm going to cover up the chart, but it's called Perching. And it's just that little bird. So I stitched that and made it into a little pin cushion filled with crushed walnut shells. So I thought that would be sweet to just put in there. She uses it as a stitching box to hold her scissors and threads and things. So I thought a little pin cushion would be sweet. So I stitched that. I did actually, if you look at this, some of these leaves are really kind of grayish, brownish looking. And I wasn't loving how much grayish brown there was because the bird is that color. So I actually pulled a brighter green that I had that coordinated with this green and used that to stitch the other couple of leaves. And I was really happy with how that turned out. And instead of putting the year, I just put her initial, I think right here, and I did it in one of these pink colors. So, but it turned out really sweet. I also did it on maybe 36 count, and it, you know, it turned out about that size. So it was just a sweet little pin cushion, and the threads that it called for, again, Crescent Colors, Classic Colorworks, whatever, some Gentle Arts, and pretty much all of those I pulled from what I already had. So the only thing, like I said, that I substituted was I pulled that a DMC thread that I used for that kind of brighter green. So anyway, Marianne Blackburn, this is a really sweet book, and I really want to do this sampler too, as well as do the box for me at some point. The box came from Hobby Lobby. And unfortunately, the difficulty with finding one was that, you know, the mirror inside on a lot of them was broken. I've since seen that someone, instead of having that mirror there, they just covered it up. They put like an inset piece and stitched another piece that they put on the inside. And I really like that idea, so I may actually end up doing that with mine, even though I was so careful to find one that had a mirror that was in good shape. So, so those 2 finishes, and then the Quilts for Peace. And then the other thing that I did, she also, come right here. Hey, hey, come right here. Come right here. Come on. You can lay right there. Sorry for all the shaking. Okay. So along with the little pin cushion that I did, she also knits. So I had been wanting to try my hand at making one of these for a while, and I found a tutorial online. I will link to it in the show notes. But I wanted to make a little whip minder. So these are for when you're knitting socks, and basically they snap. So what you do is, when you're knitting socks, of course, you have it on your needles, and whether you're using double pointed needles or whether you're using doing magic loop and using circular needles, there's always the fear that that your stitches are going to come off your needles in your bag. And so these little whip minders, you basically put that in there, and then there's 2 snaps. Some of them have 4, but I only did 2. You snap your little snaps, maybe, and it holds your needles in there so they don't come out, and then your stitches won't come off your needles. So this was my test one that I made for me, and then I made 2 others for her using some cave facet fabrics that I know she loves. I used this August cotton and steel print that has the lions on it. I'm a Leo. My birthday's in August. Actually, it was Monday. So I have loved this fabric for so long. And then when I was watching Emily from Eclectic Possessions, when I was watching her Flosstube videos, she I'm sorry, I am just... She had a grime guard, like a Q-snap cover made, and it was out of this fabric, and so that reminded me how much I loved this. And I didn't have enough to try to make a Q-snap cover, so I thought, well, I'll make a little whip minder. So that's my other finish. So I made 3 of these, 2 for my friend, and then this one for me. And the inside of it, I didn't show you, has these little raindrops that are from that same line that I just love. So coordinate. Anyway, and there's my sock that I haven't knitted on in forever. So anyway, so those are my finishes that I've had, and so whips. I have not worked on my chatelaine at all since I showed it to you last time. I have worked on my Henry VIII, my 6 Wives of Henry VIII. So that's how far I am. So I finished Catherine of Aragon. This says divorce underneath it. I finished her except for some French knots. So there's a bunch of French knots on her. There's French knots in the crown. There's French knots that go all between these little squares up here, etc. And now I'm working on Anne Boleyn. And that's turning out really pretty. It's like a charcoal gray, and then that kind of grayish blue, and then a green. You know, my color, my lighting in here is not fantastic, but anyway, so that's coming along, and I really enjoy working on this piece. I find it very, very soothing for some reason, which I have needed. So, and I'm stitching it on Gonder linen. I think it's 40 count, that I coffee dyed myself, and then stitching with DMC, with the called for DMC threads. One thread over 2, as one does on 40 count. So, that is that. And I worked on Anniversaries of the Heart a little bit. There's that. And I've been filling in the roof, so I got the roof filled in, and then I got the side of the house filled in, and now I've got the door all filled in, so I'm just starting on filling in the front of the house. And it's all, you know, grays and taupes, and I like it. So that little satin stitch G makes me kind of happy. So anyway, and you've seen this a million times, but it's on 40 count Lakeside. I think it's vintage exemplar, vintage light exemplar, one of the two. Written down someplace, with the called for threads. And the one that I'm working on is, it's Blackbird Designs, obviously. This is called Swan Lake, so I haven't put those swans in there yet. But this is pattern 7, or the July pattern. And this is from Anniversaries of the Heart. So, working on that a little bit, not much, but a little bit. And then on my birthday, I really wanted to start something new for my birthday. And I'm not really sure why I didn't, other than I just didn't. But anyway, so instead of starting something new, I decided to get one of my whips out and work on it, and I wanted something that was special since it was my birthday. So I got out my Raven bag that I showed you last time, and decided to work on Blackened Sky. So I basically did all this in here last time when I worked on it, and I just love how it's turning out. Let's see if I can. My frame's a little big, so it's a little hard to show, but I just love it. And you know, I talked extensively last time about the silks that are the pure palette silks, and this is 40 count vintage pear, which is what it calls for. And I just, you know, I love the pure palette silk, so I'm very happy to work on that. And I think I showed you what it looks like last time, but primitive needle, Blackened Sky, and there's the whole thing. So I'm loving it. It was the perfect thing to stitch on for my birthday, and I wanted something special, and this is special. So I worked on that for my birthday, and it occurred to me that there were 2 threads that I was missing, and so like I have all of the pure palette silks, but then it calls for 2 silken colors, silks, Wart Frog and Tuscan Olive, I think is the other one. Anyway, well, I'll get back to the threads in a minute. But anyway, I realized that I didn't have those 2 and had never purchased them, and I was having to kind of work around them where they go in that block, and so I really wanted to go ahead and get those. So that's kind of everything that I worked on for the past few weeks, whip wise and finish wise. And so stash enhancement. So I got together with a couple of friends, the two that I stitched gifts for, and let me back up just a second since this is reminding me. So I showed last time a bunch of these project bags that Sylvia made for me, this one and this one and this one, and then there were, you know, scads more that I showed in my last video. Anyway, several people commented on the video on YouTube and asked where they could purchase these. I have since talked to Sylvia, and she said that, you know, she is more than happy to work with someone and make some project bags for them. So if you're interested in that, I can certainly provide you with her contact information so that you can email her and talk to her about making you some project bags if you're interested. And she does, you know, all sorts. I think I showed you last time my my bag that Sparrow is in, that has the little ruffle at the top, and it's got the handles, and it's like a little square bag. And then of course she makes these that are more kind of the envelope style, and then the like the zippered ones like this that has the screening. I mean, she makes all sorts of things. So anyway, so if you're interested in that, let me know, and I will be happy to pass on her contact information for you. So birthday. So the three of us got together one day last Saturday, actually, and had lunch together, and I gave them their gifts, and they gave me a couple of gifts too. So one of the things that I got was this butterfly quilt pattern from Tula Pink. I actually have the fabric to make this in the Eden colorway. That's more like greens and, you know, different color palette. So I have all the fabrics to make it. I have the color placement for doing it in the Eden colorway, but the piece that I was missing was the actual pattern. So my friend Ava gave this to me for my birthday, and I'm very appreciative of it because I definitely needed this in order to do my quilt. So when this first came out, you know, I didn't love it because I'm not a pink and purple girl. I'm just not. And this was actually done with acacia, with that fabric line. You know, I thought it was really interesting, and especially when you get closer to it and you realize that this is made up of all like sampler blocks. So I'm sorry for the reflection, but that butterfly is made up of all kinds of different blocks, which I just find amazing. So anyway, but I just never did love it in these colors. And so then when she redid the quilt in the Eden colorway, obviously with her Eden fabrics, and it was more jewel tones. You know, it's got some reds in it, it's got some greens in it, it's got some purples in it, and some, you know, some blues, I think. but I just fell in love with it, and so I had to have it. And I've shown on a previous video all the fabrics for it, and I just love it. So I'm thrilled to finally have the pattern. And I did think seriously about starting a quilt on my birthday. I had done that a few years ago with my Kiss Kiss quilt, was to start that on my birthday. I thought, well, I could at least start cutting fabric, but I ended up not. So, but the thought was there. So, later that day we did go to a quilt shop over in Fort Worth called the Cabbage Rose, and I bought they had this one lone fat quarter of Elizabeth of the Selfie fabric, which I needed extra of so that I can fussy cut it for my Gothic Arches quilt. So that was my big purchase of the day, was this one fat quarter. So, but I was happy to find it. They didn't have any other, they didn't have yardage or anything of the rest of this, so I was happy to find what I found. So then my other gift, Sylvia made me this project roll out of Ghastly's fabric, which I'm in love with. It's so fun. I'd really been wanting a project bag made out of this fabric. Look at this cat. He just cracks me up. And the owl. So I'd really been wanting a project bag out of this, but so she made me a project roll. And there's the other end. So what this is it's so that you can take your finished project or you know, a project that you're working on, if you're going to transport it or store it, you can put it in here, and so that way it doesn't get wrinkled. And since I'm, you know, since I tend to take my finishes to Guild to share, I had been just sort of rolling them around a empty paper towel holder. So this is much nicer. And I had looked at a tutorial for making one a long time ago, but I never actually got around to it. So anyway, so she made this for me, and it's got the fun coordinating fabric with those trees in it. And I'll show you the rest of this. But so, you know, I was absolutely thrilled with this because I really had been wanting one, and I love her fabric choice for me. So then she says, well, go ahead and unroll it. So I'm unrolling, and I'm like, what is that? That would be the Rampant Cat Sampler by Barbara Anna Designs that Sylvia stitched for me. I can't even, so here, this is the rest of the thing. And so you just roll your fabric, as you saw, you just roll your piece up in here, and then you tie it, and then it keeps it from getting wrinkled and squished and whatever. So yeah. So this is on, it's hard to tell the fabric color in here, but this is cedar plank. Lakeside Linen Cedar Plank. And I have been absolutely in love with this piece since I first saw it, because it has the 2 black cats at the bottom. And then also, of course, because this is, you know, a take on an Adam and Eve sampler, which is why there they are under the tree with the serpent. So, you know, I've also stitched Garden of Erie, which is Plum Street Samplers, which is, you know, a similar kind of Halloween take on Adam and Eve. So, and I collect Adam and Eve stuff, and I love stitching Adam and Eve samplers. So this is, it's just perfect in a lot of ways, and I can't believe that she stitched me a whole sampler like this. So anyway, and this is 40 count, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, I love it. I love it. So I will be getting that framed at some point, and you know, I'm a little speechless. So, oh, and the other thing, and I think I had shown it here, but the other thing that I gave her was a Christmas ornament. You know, so we exchange Christmas ornaments every year, and so I gave her that. It was a little tree that I had stitched from a chart that I purchased when I was in Paris, when we went to the Paris Needlework Show. So anyway, so I think I've shown that little tree, but anyway, I gave her that for our Christmas exchange. So, so that was Saturday. And then on my birthday, which was Monday, I had really wanted to go to the local needle workshop. And that did not happen. So I ended up going the next day, on Tuesday. And so there's a local needle workshop that's over by where I work, and you know, there's a over in the Stitch Mania group on Facebook, some folks had mentioned that they had gone to one of the other needle workshop, the local needle workshops here a few weeks ago, and they were talking about getting together to stitch at this needle workshop, Threads That Bind, that I went to on Tuesday. And I made a comment on the post and said, hey, that's my local needle workshop, so I would love to meet up with you guys if you end up doing that. No comment, no response. So obviously I was obtrusively inviting myself along where I was not wanted. So that makes you feel good, doesn't it? Anyway, so I didn't get to go to the stitch shop on my birthday like I had wanted to, so I took myself on Tuesday, and of course, that evening, Monday evening, my birthday, I worked on Black Sky and decided, I realized I had those 2 Silken Colors threads that I was missing. And so I wanted to pick those 2 up. And then, Eric said, well, if you're going, you should see what else you need, if you have other threads that you need, and just get them all at the same time. So I picked up, this is Silken Colors. If you've never stitched with these, you need to, because you are missing something fabulous in your life. Silken Colors and Gloriana are probably my favorite silks of all time. I do not love Belle Soie because they shred, and because they cannot seem to have consistent colors. But I love Gloriana. I love Silken Colors. They're very squishy. They're really beautiful. So anyway, this is Tuscan Olive, and this is one of the ones that I need for Black Sky. The other one is Wart Frog, and unfortunately they were out of it, so they ordered it for me, and hopefully it will be in soon so I can go pick that up. So I was happy to get that. And then in my Henry VIII piece that I'm working on, one of the DMC threads it calls for is this dark brown 3031, which is, those frames, like the frame that's around Catherine of Aragon and the one around Anne Boleyn, calls for this color. And I am down to like my last little nubbin of thread on that. I don't have a backup, and Eric and I went to Joann's the other day, and the whole bin of 3031 was empty. So I managed to pick up another skein of this while I was at the needle workshop. So, and I also was going to look to get some Anchor black thread, because I have heard that it is thicker and better to stitch with than the DMC black. So I really wanted to give that a try. They did not have any Anchor, so I'm gonna have to keep looking for Anchor black, because that's one of the things that annoys me so much about stitching with black, is because it's so much thinner, and I really want that good coverage. And I think Emily, Eclectic Possessions, she really likes to have that good coverage too. And so I think in some cases, even instead of using 2 strands, she will use 3 in order to get the coverage she wants. So I may just start trying to do that. I don't know if I can do it on 40 count, like do 2 strands of the black to get the coverage I want, but that's kind of why I wanted to try the Anchor and see if it give me a little better coverage. So then the other threads that I got are all for the next Anniversaries of the Heart block that I have to stitch after I finish my Swan Lake, and it is Clara Ellen, Blackbird Designs. There's the piece. And strangely for this one, and maybe it's because it like 90% of the threads in here, like it calls for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It calls for 10 threads. 9 of those are Crescent colors. Classic Colorworks, whatever. And so most of the threads I did not have. So so I got all of those. So Little House Brown, which I'm sure is after Little House Needleworks. Stepping Stones. This one was kind of pretty, Olive Branch. It's hard to tell, but it's a variegated. Yeah, you can kind of tell there. And then this one. Let's talk about this. So Tiny Vine. They had 5 skeins of Tiny Vine that ranged anywhere from mint green to olive green. Really? This is why I don't like Belle Soie either, is because, I mean, it's not just the standard slight variation that you would see because it's an overdyed thread, but the fact that your color would change so drastically. I mean, olive green and mint green are nothing at all alike. Nothing at all alike, other than the fact that they're both green. And of course, I didn't have my pattern with me, so I didn't know if I needed the more olivey or the more minty. And this is what freaking frustrates me about Classic Colorworks, Belle Soie, Crescent Color. I mean, it's all the same company, right? So annoyed. So I took a gamble and went with the more olivey, and that was really only because this olive branch is actually more minty green than the olive version of Tiny Vine, as you can see. The minty version of Tiny Vine is basically this mint green color. Anyway, and then 2 weeks dye works that I needed. Oh, this is for something totally unrelated. When I was thinking about starting something new, I pulled out, which I didn't pull here to show you, I pulled out Primitive Needles Ouija board, or the talking board. And it calls for weeks charcoal and weeks bark. And so even though I have these colors, and you can't even really tell the color in here, but even though I have these already, I wanted whole skeins for them. So that is on my list of things to start sooner rather than later. So anyway, so I got those threads and I was very happy with that. And I was glad I finally got to go to the needle workshop, despite having asked to go previously and invited myself along so rudely on one of the boards, whatever. You don't want me there, you don't want me there, that's fine. And if, never mind. I'm just gonna leave that alone. I may be going back to the needle workshop soon because as I was watching Emily's videos, Eclectic Possessions, and I think I've mentioned her like 56 times now in this video. As I was watching her videos, she talked about the Village of Hawk Run Hollow stitch along that she was doing with Tattooed Stitcher on Instagram, and I thought, this is fabulous. I've been wanting to stitch that piece for so long. In fact, I just recently put it on my bucket list of things I want to stitch before I die. So, and of course you have seen, I showed you last time my sad round robin, my neighborhood round robin, where I had stitched the tombstone block on, and then back in April of last year, I stitched the willow block with the church for mine and Eric's anniversary that year, which was the willow anniversary. So I stitched that for him. But I've really been wanting to stitch Village of Hawk Run Hollow, the whole thing. So when Emily started talking about it and talking about, doing a block a month and doing a stitch along and how fun it would be. I was like, I am down for that. And she was talking about, you know, they were going to start on October 1st. And I thought, how perfect. It's like the perfect piece to start in the fall. I love that. I'm totally doing it. And so, like, I went into planning mode, and I went and got my chart out and, you know, started looking at fabric, and I, you know, started making all of my little calculations, like, you know, if I do it on 40 count, it's this size, and I need 2-inch border, and so I need this size of fabric, and maybe I'll get pecan butter, and yeah. I don't know if you see the inherent problem in this yet. If you watch her video, you know. Her videos, you already know what the problem is. The problem is her video was from 2015. And just so we're all on the same page, it's 2016. So I was all excited. I was going to start this stitch along on October 1st. Yay. Anyway, I may start my own stitch along. I'm going to stitch along with myself. And I really want to start on September 1st because I think it would be a fabulous piece to stitch in the fall. So I may do that. All I need is fabric. So, and yes, I realize that September 1st is like Wednesday. Whatever. So yeah, I want to do a Village of Hot Run Hollow stitch along with myself. Okay, so the other thing that is stash enhancement related is I asked for this for my birthday, and Eric purchased it for me. I have been wanting this for a long time, and so he ordered me Pattern Maker Pro for cross stitch so that I can chart and not a picture of a dude with a dog from a photo. Not interested. So I've talked to several people, and including some designers, and this is what they use. So I've been designing pieces in my head. I am hoping to get them actually charted. And I'm really excited about that because, well, there's many reasons, but you know, years ago I took a workshop with Catherine Theron. I've taken workshops with her several times for her pieces. And someone asked her in one of the workshops why she started designing and why she started teaching. And she said that it was because she could not find pieces that really spoke to her, that she really wanted to stitch, that were her style. And of course, you know, now there's so many people that are doing, not like she does, but there's so many people that do samplers and things like that, that are wonderful. I think the market for that is certainly a lot larger than it used to be, probably when she started designing. But that's kind of how I'm feeling, is there are certain things that, a certain aesthetic that I would really like to stitch, and I'm thrilled when I come across it. And so I'm going to design some of my own pieces, and stitch them for myself, and we'll see how it goes. It may turn out to be a hot mess, but I don't care because I'm really excited about it. And so I'm thrilled that Eric got this for me. Absolutely thrilled. So that's it for stash enhancement. And I wanted to give a couple of shout outs. I've been watching more videos. Obviously, I've been watching Eclectic Possessions. I went back and watched all of her videos from the beginning, so I think I'm caught up on those. And you know how when you get to watch somebody's videos like every day, and you get to go from one to another to another to another, excuse me, and it's so fun to go back and look at, you know, their old videos, but then you run out. And then they, you know, then you're like, record. So anyway, so then I started watching Tracy P and watching her videos, which I absolutely love. She's cracking me up. And I'm, you know, I'm still like 9 months behind, but I've been really enjoying those. And it's, you know, it's nice to enjoy, you know, just laughing at simple things like, you know, her kid in a hot dog costume when she's playing Sims, or, you know, putting all of the dinky dye threads in her shopping cart. Things like that. I love that. So I've been really appreciative of things that make me smile, and I've been really appreciative of Flosstube videos. You know, they just, the great thing about it is you can, you know, watch and listen to someone that is talking about stuff that you love, and share in your stitching, you know, interests and obsessions, and it really makes you feel a little less alone. So I'm thankful to everybody that does videos. I really am. Because then you really get a chance to kind of see the person and their personality, and, you know, all of that doesn't always come across in the written word. So it's nice. So, I've been reading a little bit. I haven't been reading a ton. I've been stitching more than anything, and I tell you what, between, you know, over the past 6 months or so, kind of rediscovering reading and how much I love reading, and then, you know, sort of not that I ever fell out with my stitching, but sort of rediscovering stitching and really being excited and energized and inspired about it again has been so important. So just having a hard time, guys. Sorry. Just having a hard time. So what have I been reading? So I finished reading Isla and the Happily Ever After, which was really good. That was the third in a series. I'd previously read Anna and the French Kiss and Lola and the Boy Next Door, and I really enjoyed Isla. And then I read Wink Poppy Midnight, which I picked up kind of on a whim. The writing in it was beautiful. Like the language was beautiful and evocative and wonderful. But the story just kind of left me a little flat. It was, it's one of those books where the writing did not hold up to, or the story did not hold up to the writing and how wonderful the writing itself was. And so now I am reading Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, who also wrote The Raven Boys, which I have been trying to check out from the library for weeks and weeks and weeks now, to no avail. And every time I go, it's gone. And even when I check to see if it's there, and then I go right over to the library, it's gone. So I decided that I would pick this up and read it. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 145 pages in. So, but it's really good. So, that's where I'm at. Apparently I'm like right at the hour mark again. And I have things that I need to go and get done. But really I just want to sit on the couch and watch Flosstube videos and stitch. And not talk to anybody. And, it just feels really crappy when you feel like you don't matter. And I'm not talking about Eric. I mean, but when people make you feel like you don't matter. And it just, I don't know, it just feels really crappy. It feels crappy at work. It feels crappy in social circles. It feels crappy in other circles. It just, And so I've been really struggling going between feeling really crappy like that, like how, hurtful that is, and feeling really, really irritated and annoyed. I'm just tired of putting up with drama, and I'm tired of feeling like I don't matter, and I'm tired of all that junk. All that BS is what I was going to say. So, anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I am very much looking forward to Labor Day weekend and having 3 days away from the drama and the BS that is work. And I think I'm gonna hermit for a while, because I'm irritated, and I'm tired of feeling like I don't matter. So, anyway. So that's where I'm at, and hopefully next time I will be in a better mood and be able to focus more on stitching happy things. And I will, of course, post all of the show notes and everything and link to the stuff that I talked about on my blog, which, of course, I will link to in YouTube also, if that's where you're watching this. And at some point I will put up some photos on Instagram or something of the other little finishes that I had so that you can see them. And okay, I'll let you know if I start my stitch along with myself of Village of Hawkrun Hollow. And I'm gonna go maybe watch some more of Tracy P's videos, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And once again, I'm Michelle, Cozyegg. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Flickr, Ravelry, all the places as Cozyegg. And you can find my blog at cozyegg.cozyeggdesigns.com. You can also just go directly to cozyeggdesigns.com and get to my Cozyegg blog. From there, you can also get to Cozy Style, which is more of my lifestyle blog, which is where I talk about books and reading and travel and whatever other stuff, which is sort of non-crafty related. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good weekend and a good end to your summer, and I will hopefully see you in another couple of weeks. Thanks. Bye.